I don't have any evidence of this, but I strongly suspect that the government actually somebody had to plan this. Okay, just bear with me for a moment. Okay, bear with me.
Oh, this is my favorite. Yeah, put that in there. Yes, hold on, put it back. I love this shit.
All right, that's the video that I just posted of the kids in the projects in Chicago popping fentanyl pressed pills, fake Percocets. And you hear the music that's playing in the background. It's one of these new rappers that only talks about murder, only talks about gangbanging, only talks about disrespecting women. You know, if you basically model your life after what that rapper or any of these new rappers talk about, you're going to end up in prison, you're going to end up in a gang, and you're going to end up thinking that's normal. And there was a point in time when rap in the 90s, you couldn't even play certain types of songs on the radio, even in the 90s, you know. That's why rappers had to make a clean version of a song, and the dirty version would be available on the album. But for the most part, there was a lot of censorship in rap. There was even a movement to ban rap. There was even a movement to ban rock and roll in the 80s because, you know, rock and roll had a lot of the heavy metal imagery of skulls, and they had a lot of demonic concepts, and they talked about the devil and hell a lot in rock and heavy metal. And a lot of people actually listened to heavy metal and went on school shooting sprees and stuff like that. And hip-hop was very, very wild in the 90s because for the first time you hear these men, these young black men, calling women the B-word and just disrespecting women. And at that point in time in the 90s, you still had a hefty amount of people out there who were in the civil rights movement, who were around in the 60s. Somebody was 20 in 1965. In 1995, they were only 50. So the 60s, that generation of people were still relatively young in the 90s, and they were fighting back against the virus and the infection that had entered into our community. Unfortunately, they lost because hip-hop, people saw that it had the potential to become a billion-dollar industry. It had the potential to become pop music. But what I want you guys to do is pretend that you were an alien and you just got on Earth and you're listening to the radio just to get an idea of how humans are. And you listen to rock station, jazz station, talk show, then you get to the hip-hop station and just tell me what is the difference in the music. Rap is going to stand out because even on the radio, you're listening to these songs that are advocating, they're begging you to join a gang. They're begging you to go kill your own brother. They're begging you to disrespect black women. They're begging you to be a failure. They're begging you to be ignorant. They're begging you to not value education. And for me, none of this is coincidental because, first of all, the radios, corporate America is very tied into each other, you know. For example, Burger King, McDonald's, the people who are CEOs of these companies are friendly with each other, they give advice to each other, and they work in unison with each other. On the outside, they look like they're competitive, they're competitors of each other, but in reality, they're working together to make sure that they both succeed. So corporate America is tied in. So if you got a CEO who's in pharmaceuticals, he's going to know the CEO who's working for Glock or Smith & Wesson, and, you know, just big corporations, the people who work there and own those companies and run those companies are friendly with other big corporations because they have to have each other's back in order to succeed. Because the 1% is always going to triumph over the 99%. And in order for that to happen, they have to make sure that they support each other and help each other to dominate us, the regular people. So you can't tell me that they didn't sit around in a room one day or come up with some type of idea that, hey, hip-hop has the potential to become a billion-dollar industry. At first, these white folks and these people who were at the top didn't like rap because they thought that it might, it might infect their race. They thought that the little white kids that like rap would be turned out by it. But then somewhere along the way, they made a compromise and decided that they were going to stick with it. They decided not to ban it. They decided that they were going to fully invest in it because they saw the potential of it to be a moneymaker. And it's a lifestyle thing. Like lifestyle, branding, and hip-hop goes hand in hand. That's why I always say, people who love hip-hop, even me when I was under the slavery of rap, whenever a rapper would come out with a new style, whether it was a new fashion code or a new shoe or new slang, I would adapt to that because rap is all about keeping up with the trends and with the new out with the old, and you can take that mentality to even people. Old rappers, we don't care about them. We don't want to learn anything from the past. We're not going to learn from their lessons. They are not relevant. If you're not new, if you're not hip, if you're not trending, if you're not the new thing, you're whack. And somewhere along the way, I think somebody had a meeting in a boardroom and they discussed that. And they realized, hey, if we can get these people to only focus on the new, the next, the trend, the fad, we can create a mentality where they don't even care about their own. They're not even going to go back into the past and seek knowledge. They're not going to go back into the past to understand themselves. They're not going to go back into the past to learn what the previous struggle was so that they can know where they're going. If you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. We can train these kids to be so programmed to look into the future, to look for the next trend, that they would never go back to learn anything. They're going to disregard their elders. They're not even going to know who Martin Luther King is in another generation. Some kids now don't know who he is. They know they live on Martin Luther King Boulevard, but they don't know who he is. And it's working. So you can't tell me that black people, we're only 12% of the population. We're only 44 million out of the 329 million Americans. You can't tell me that when you turn that radio on or if you listen to that Spotify playlist, why is it that we're the only people whose songs are genocidal? I'ma catch a op. I'ma pop him in his top. F that dude. I'ma take his girl and I'ma get her to suck on my lollipop. I mean, we're the only race on earth that does that. We hate each other. So you can't tell me that some people of high influence got together in a room and said, we're going to use rap as our new slavery. We're going to enslave them, and they're going to keep it going. We don't even have to do anything. We don't have to whip them. We don't have to separate the families. We don't have to rape the women in front of the men. We don't have to rape the men in front of the women. We don't have to take their manhood and demasculate them. We can make them enslave themselves. We can make slavery on autopilot. Just give them rap. Give them hip-hop. It's going to destroy them. It's going to create genocide. It's going to put all the men in jail and prison. It's going to make all the men take them off the regular path of being a normal civilian who wants to just be successful in life, and it's going to put them on a path where they want to be failures. They want to be losers. They want to lose everything. They want to be ignorant. They want to be stupid. They literally would want to be stupid. You can't tell me that that board meeting didn't happen. I don't have any evidence of it, but I'm strongly suspecting that something like that had to have happened. Give these guys hip-hop, and I guarantee they'll want to be stupid. I can guarantee that they're going to put European fashion, European cars, European clothes above anything else. They'll never support their own people. Give them rap, and that's going to be the driving device that makes black people enslave themselves.